Dumb. Cool.
Weird.
Podcast. One thing I was really interested in with you is you seem to understand why advertisers are starting to play it safe or have played it safe or like what they're at with advertising. And we're very interested in that. And we kind of want to know more about that.
So, oh, yeah, cool. Yeah.
So, now, do you think this is something that's happened recently or is this something that's been going on for like decades?
We started?
Yeah, we started.
We
Yeah.
We just go right into it.
We just roll right into it. So.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I think it's. I think people, like a lot of brands, are just afraid right now. We live in a pretty crazy time, COVID and school shootings and all sorts of things, and we're such a divided country that I think brands. Nobody wants to offend anybody, which is a real shame because when you offend people, that's when you're doing really cool stuff. Like if everybody is if everybody loves everything, it means nobody's taking chances and nobody's doing anything really interesting. Like nobody universally loves a single movie or nobody universally loves a single TV show because, it's about tastes and brands. Brands really shouldn't care about offending people unless those people spend money with them. So if brands really know their customers and know their clients, they can get away with stuff that people who aren't ever going to buy from them probably aren't their customer ever. You don't really have to worry about offending those people. We're using the word offend, but when I mean offend, we shouldn't, brands shouldn't go racist and they shouldn't go too crazy, but they should be really smart and clever and edgy because that's kind of what people like and that's what people notice. And everything right now is just so boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I see some ads sometimes, and it kind of catches me off guard when I see some really I don't know, it's kind of cringe, right? I I like cringe more often than I'm just like, oh, that's kind of a cool ad.
You ever get just really annoyed with some of the ads that you see too on TV?
Yeah.
Because you're like, man, it's recycled garbage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It just I was watching one ad. It's an ad for I think something for your cat or your dog. And this I guess woman's talking to the camera and she's trying to be funny and it's not funny. She's not was
it the cat whisperer?
I don't know who she is, but she's just she's like, hey, what you doing there, stud? And she puts the microphone in the cat's face and I'm just
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I'm just okay, that's not really funny. I what are you trying to? I don't even know what you're trying to sell. Because
a perfect example is one of the Super Bowl ads this year. They had, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name, Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd for a Lay's potato chip commercial.
Yep.
And it wasn't funny. So you have the two arguably one of the, maybe the top 10 funniest working actors right now, great writers. Mm-hmm. What they should have done was said, hey, Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen, we'd love you to be in a Super Bowl ad. You write it. Instead, they probably said, hey, Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen, here's a ton of money to be in a Super Bowl ad, and it's such an honor to work with you. We're going to write something really funny for you guys because we're the smart advertising people, and we're smarter than you. And this stuff happens all the time, over and over.
Yeah, and it ends up not being something that's
Super Bowl commercials used to be the greatest thing, like the Bud Light night. Those were
What's
great.
up, guys?
Yeah, what's up, guys? That's a good one.
That's a great one.
Yeah, there used to be some really, really good ones, and I don't really watch the Super Bowl that much. I used to I played football for a long time, and I kind of stay away from football as much as I can because it kind of brings back bad memories. But sometimes I'll check out the Super Bowl, and I've noticed that in the past 4 years, the Super Bowl commercials have been pretty fucking shitty.
Some of them got pretty dark too.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the one where the kid dies in a bathtub for the insurance company?
No, but I saw the domestic violence one a couple years back, and I was like, wow, this got really dark.
I noticed they do a lot of woke virtue signaling really bad. They will virtue signal the fuck out of like organizations and stuff, which is pretty crazy.
I think that's
You know,
just
it's really ironic about a domestic violence. I shouldn't be laughing saying domestic violence, but domestic violence during the Super Bowl is really kind of ironic because that is one of the highest days of the calendar year of domestic violence. Because if your team loses or whatever, a lot of people tend to take it out on their significant other.
Jesus
So it's
that.
Christ.
You
like,
know what? I didn't even think about that.
yeah,
It's kind of nice
it,
little warning, like kind of nice little warning for people who are watching the TV. You know, knowing that their significant other is going to go batshit crazy.
Man, that's
yeah.
terrifying. God damn.
It's not wrong though. It's like I've seen like people lose their shit or have like these weird traditions when it just comes to sports in general, like where they have like pictures of their favorite player to watch the game with them, and you're just like, this is kind of weird, man.
Yeah, a little bit. A
maybe
little
that
bit.
maybe the commercial was necessary.
Perhaps. I mean, I honestly like when I would turn on like Hulu
Oh my god.
or like Paramount Plus and I see a commercial, most of the time, I would say 85% of the time I cringe. It's just not, I don't know. I remember how it was when I was a kid. I grew up in the 90s. I was a 90s kid. And I've actually gone back and watched those commercials to see if they really were that entertaining, and they were pretty fucking entertaining. There's this one commercial for I'm sure you probably remember it. It was a commercial about installing an AC unit, and the guy's like, "Oh, it's a scorcher today," and she's like, "Well, it's gonna be even hotter." She's like, "It's gonna be hot," and he's like, "It's gonna be even hotter tomorrow," and she's like, "Hotter than yesterday?" And then like he goes, "Yep." And then like he goes, he goes, "Well," and then she goes, "Well, you need to like upgrade our AC unit." And he goes, "Well, I'll call tomorrow." And she's like, "You call today." And she's like, and then she's like, "You're gonna call now." He's like, "I'll call now." And it's like really funny. Like even as an adult, it's still pretty funny, you know? So like it's pretty crazy that commercials from like 20 years ago, like 25 years ago are still fucking funny, but then like newer commercials are just not grabbing anymore when we live in such a diverse age where, you know, marketing in an arguable sense should be like better, you
It
know?
can go in so many directions.
So many different directions, you know, versus
Yeah,
like back
like
then.
without derailing our conversation and making it all about political correctness, it's just, things were looser then. Like there's stuff that you could never get away with now.
Yeah.
That even like in the 90s and stuff like that, which is crazy. The Eddie Murphy movie, 48 Hours.
Uh-huh.
I, it's one of my favorite movies. I watch it maybe once a year.
Oh.
Man, that movie could not be remade today. It's the most racist movie in the world, but it's super entertaining. It's a great movie. But like, have you guys seen the movie recently?
I haven't seen that since I was a kid. But
Okay, so Eddie Murphy's character's name is Reggie Hammond, and Nick Nolte, who's his reluctant partner,
Yep.
never calls him by his name. He calls him by every black racist stereotype name through the whole movie.
Oh my god.
And like,
Christ.
and at the time, probably nobody even blinked. It's just like that's kind of what happens. And so it's like, is political correctness good or bad? In moderation, it's both. But man, like the 90s were the greatest generation. Don't let anyone tell you differently.
No, I mean I could totally agree with that. I remember the '90s being pretty fun when I was a kid. I remember the movies being pretty ridiculous, and I liked '80s movies and '70s movies too. Growing up, because I'd watch the reruns of those movies, and I really liked that movie Blazing Saddles. They could never make that movie today.
No,
Yeah,
you couldn't even
it's
make.
one of the best comedies of all time.
Oh, yeah. You couldn't even make Spaceballs today.
Probably not.
No.
I mean, any Mel Brooks movies, probably not. I mean,
Mel Brooks' movies are off the table entirely for remakes.
probably. I could see that. But I guess my next question is like, so if they're not playing it safe today, what do you think? What do you think they should do to rectify that, to make it better? I guess, like in your opinion.
Well, so just to give context to why like I'm a know-it-all on this, I run an ad agency, and
Oh, cool.
our ad
All right.
like in my ad agency, we're staffed by our creative team is the former creative team from Mad Magazine. So
No shit.
so
Wow.
we've got some of the most professionally funny people in the world working at our company, and brands need to take chances. Like, there has never been a time in history that has been as noisy as it is now for brands. Like, for
Absolutely.
people to remember your company, remember your product, remember whatever your messaging is. It's like it's so noisy right now. The way you cut through the noise is standing out, doing something ridiculous, doing something crazy. Have a commercial for an air conditioner where the wife is verbally abusing her husband and saying, "You're going to do it now."
You're gonna do it
It's
now.
like the bar is so low right now that anything you do that's interesting will be remembered and stood out or stand out. It's just such a crazy time. There was a commercial that just came out like a week or two ago for Volkswagen that got all this praise. So it's just a guy walking through a street looking at his iPhone, bumping into people and being rude, and then he tries to cross the street and he almost gets hit by a Volkswagen car, but the car braked on its own because it's got some, braking technology. And people thought it was such an edgy commercial because the guy was rude. Can you imagine? Like, that's all it takes. It's like, wow, that guy bumped into somebody. What a jerk. Stuff. But like, somebody saw this and probably thought, man, that's really bleeding edge. We're going to win a bunch of awards with this.
Well, it's because people get like people blow things out of proportion these days. So I guess something as
Mhm.
simple as bumping into somebody would be seen as very rude nowadays. And back in the day, bumping into somebody was just like, oh, whatever. That's just kind of normal, right?
Mhm.
That's
That's
crazy.
how I meet girls, as I bump into them.
There you
Is-
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. We need to bump. We need to bump into people more.
Yeah, unfortunately, we did that a few times and it didn't end well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So a lot of people that you work with worked at Mad Magazine, huh? That's really cool.
Yep.
That is.
Mhm.
Did they work on Mad TV at all?
Not the TV show, the printed magazine.
Okay. I didn't know if those two were connected or not. I didn't know like if Mad TV and Mad Magazine kind of had some kind of connection to each other. Cuz I know
Connected in spirit, but two completely different product,
okay.
two different properties, different teams, different everything like that.
Okay, cool. Because I'm a huge fan of Mad
Yeah.
TV. I watched that a lot growing up, and
Yeah.
I've had a couple issues of Mad Magazine when I was a kid. Probably shouldn't have had them because they're kind of fucked up. But as a kid, but
It's a great time. Like, you're just you're hanging out by yourself and you're reading Mad, and then it's like it almost had the same level of getting your ass kicked by your parents as if they found you as a Playboy.
Yeah.
wasn't Mad Magazine originally made as a spoof of National Lampoon's magazine?
I think so.
Now, Mad Magazine originally started. Bill Gaines, the founder of Mad, who I like adore and idolize. He was making horror comics,
Oh,
and he was making horror comics, and the government actually started clamping down on comic books, saying that they were ruining children's minds. It was, crazy time in the 40s, and he decided to stop making horror comics and start making satire books, and that's sort of how Mad was created. But National Lampoon sort of came as a result of Mad. So did Cracked. But the National Lampoon, you sort of graduated from Mad, went to National Lampoon, and then graduated from National Lampoon and went to Playboy. So that was like the progression of reading as a young male reader.
That makes all the sense in the world because that's how it happened for me.
Mhm.
Started off.
that was really those magazines were really popular in the early '80s, right?
Yeah,
Like they
yeah,
were
they had
like super bumping.
Mhm. Yeah.
Love that shit. I'm a huge Chevy Chase fan, so any of those National Lampoon movies are my shit. I also like John Belushi, so that was very National
Mhm.
Lampoon. So
Are you a fan of Fletch?
I think it's pretty decent.
I love Fletch. I think that's good.
I
Fletch is great.
I think the sequel sucks, but I think the first one was good. You know.
First one's good.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
You know, Chevy Chase, you know, is even though he's like so recognizable, his film career kind of had like a lot of ups and downs, like back in the day. I did a lot of research into that, and I realized that Bill Murray actually had a more successful career than Chevy did. You know, in terms of like up and down like movies. I mean, Chevy's like most popular brand was the Christmas or just like the vacation movies in general. You know, were like his best movies. You know. So.
He also had Modern Problems, Foul Play. He was I saw him in a movie recently. I like Chevy too. He's in I really love this movie. It was called, what was it called? The Last Movie Star. It was Burt Reynolds' last movie. And it was loosely based on like Burt Reynolds, playing Burt Reynolds. But
wow.
they get, you know, Burt Reynolds to come to a film festival in like Nashville, and he doesn't realize, he thinks it's a recognizable film festival, but it's just like a bunch of guys like in their garage, and he hangs out with them for the weekend, and Chevy Chase is like the guy who convinces him to go and everything. So but wow. I love that movie. I thought it was really good.
Almost sounds like the plot to the new Nicolas Cage movie.
Oh my God.
That looks great too.
Yeah.
I watched it. It was pretty good. I watched it. Me and my buddy went and watched it in the theater like a month ago. It was pretty cool. Yeah, it was
That's cool.
Very, very entertaining to watch. Nicolas Cage is definitely like able to like make fun of himself a good bit.
I like when you become a meme of yourself.
Yeah. That's pretty much what the movie was.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you got to laugh at yourself.
Absolutely. And one Chevy Chase movie that comes to mind is this movie that not a lot of people know about. It's called Nothing But Trouble. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I saw that.
So you never seen it? Yeah, of course you've never seen it. No one's ever seen it. Like there's only like a few people that've heard of that movie. But it has it also has Dan Aykroyd and John Candy in it too.
Wow.
So you got to watch it.
Well, it's because I mostly know Bill Murray's movies.
Well, are you not a John Candy fan?
I am a John Candy
fan.
I'm
a huge John Candy fan. So I watch any of his shit.
Greatest Canadian actor
Uncle
ever.
Buck is like the best, dude.
The Great Outdoors.
Yeah, I love that movie. Him and Dan Aykroyd fucking being assholes to each other.
Stripes. That was another one.
Yeah, it's all good stuff. I love anything 80s because I was born in 89. Anything 80s is like my shit. Like I just when I was a kid, early 90s, I would basically go with my mom to the video store. She had like a little small video store in her town that she was living in at the time. And half the movies that were in there were just like 80s VHS tapes. Nice. And so I would just I would get attracted to something. One of the first movies I ever saw as a kid was a movie called Troll. Do you remember that movie?
That's a terrifying
movie. I did not see Troll.
Oh my God, it's so bad.
It's bad, and it's kind of like it's terrifying just from the imagery.
I was just attracted to the VHS. So as a kid, this is what I tell a lot of people. As a kid in the 90s, when you go to a video store, there was no setup to the movie. You would literally just walk up and you'd see a VHS tape, and you would see like the movie poster on the VHS tape, and you're like, "What the fuck is this?" And then you would just watch it. And if it's a shitty fucking movie, oh well.
You had to judge it by the little by the little description in the back.
Yeah.
and the way the art in the front of it was, and you're like, I think this is gonna be all right. I might be shooting myself in the foot tonight.
Yeah. I mean, but you probably I mean, I don't know. What year were you born, Saul?
I was born mid-70s, 75.
75. So you were at the cusp of you were at like the prime time for VHS, because VHS came out in the 80s, right? Like mid 80s.
Yep. Yep. I remember I spent every weekend at the video store. That was like what we did. And I remember I watched the first movie I ever went to see in the movie theater. My dad took me to see The Blues Brothers, which is a brilliant movie.
That's a really good movie.
But my junior high and high school diet of movies was a lot of like Better Off Dead, a lot of John Hughes movies, a lot of movies where women showed their breasts, and a lot of time there was skiing involved. I don't know what the connection was, but there was a whole genre of skiing and breasts.
Yeah, Ski Patrol, Hot Dog the movie. It's funny that I know these movies. I've seen all these fucking shitty ass movies, and they're always. That's why that South Park episode had that movie that had the episode Aspen. They were making fun of like all those movies. Like literally every one of those movies is you have a group of unlikely heroes who are fucking like everybody hates, and then they somehow come and save like everybody. And they have to like save the mountain from like this really rich guy that's like, oh, I hate
all these skiing here.
Yeah, so
making me money.
Yeah. So then he's like, they have to like save the town from this fucking corporation of guys that are trying to take over the mountain, and that's really the plot for every one of those movies.
That was pretty much Karate Kid too.
It's pretty much the plot for most movies in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's like I was like, there was one where those kids were like dirt biking. Or like mountain biking.
Biking is called. I think you're thinking of Rad.
Yeah.
Do you remember the movie Rad?
Yeah.
I actually really like that movie.
But you're right. It's like that cliche thing. Like kid moves into town. Town doesn't like kid.
Well, Rad is funny because when you watch the trailer, like basically, like in the trailer, the guy's he's like this kid is like, you know, he's got it all. He's got all the moves, and then like all of a sudden like an old man pops up out of nowhere and he's like, the world would be better off without kids. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, you dumb fuck? Where do you think the world comes from? It comes from fucking people being born.
You know what the problem was is no one really wanted to address Grandpa's dementia. They were just like, let Grandpa go outside. If he gets hit by a car, it'll be fine. He says dumb shit at home. Let's just let him go outside.
But yeah, I guess we got a little bit off topic. That's fine. So the way our show works is we like to get off topic sometimes because it's fun, and it may actually because we do a lot of clips, and it makes for really, really cool clips. So.
I'm cool and off topic. We could just talk about movies for this that time.
Yeah,
I saw before you sat down, I saw you've got a Schwarzenegger poster behind you.
Yep.
Any Commando fans?
I love Commando. I love that.
Yeah,
movie.
Commando's great.
I just love how he goes.
I like
to the
you.
gun.
I like you, Sully. That's why I'll kill you last. And he's like, I thought you were gonna kill me last.
I lied. You know what? I wanted to know how he goes into that gun store, just puts in this random secret code, and all of like the actual like military hardware is behind the wall. Like, how does he know this?
We're not supposed to ask.
Don't wake my friend. He's dead tired.
That was the best part though about those 80s Schwarzenegger movies. He would just say like random one-liners. That would make the movie great.
Fuck you, asshole. Fuck you, asshole. No, they're good. I think Last Action Hero is good too. I love
Last Action Hero. I can't find
a great
anyone who
one.
likes that movie.
Yeah, like
It's funny.
What's funny because the people who wrote it are self-aware that 80s action movies are fucking played out, and that's what I like about it. Like that scene where the guy's like sitting there on the ground and he's like, I was gonna retire in 2 days, and then it plays that little saxophone.
Yeah.
You can tell the movie's self-aware. You know, it's not self-aware of like what's going on in the movie. You know,
That movie did so poorly that it almost railroaded Schwarzenegger's career. And I love that movie.
I thought it was just a funny troll movie. Like, it's the perfect movie to make fun of yourself.
yeah, I thought it was honestly made as just a satire of like action movies. I thought that's what the whole point of it was. But it's crazy it didn't really do well at the box office. I mean, I guess they wanted another serious Schwarzenegger movie.
I love when he shoots the guy in the closet. He's like, how'd you know there was a guy in the closet? There's always a guy in the closet.
And then I love how they poke fun at I love how Schwarzenegger poked fun at the fact that, he probably didn't even write it, but like I like how they poked fun at the fact that like when he goes to the real world, he's like, or no, they're in the fake world, and like he takes Schwarzenegger to the video store, and he's like, but you were in and they look at Terminator, and Terminator
It's
it's
Stallone.
got Stallone is the Terminator, and I love how they poked fun at that because like they did an interview with Stallone and Schwarzenegger one time, and they were like, yeah. Back in the 80s, we were just like competing with each other, and we actually really liked each other, but we just had to pretend like we hated each other. I think that's so funny.
Yeah, they just started, whenever he made a movie, Stallone would make like a movie similar to that movie.
Yeah, and then they did Expendables together, and that was really cool. And I think they did another one together. I think they did
that-
Escape from that. They escaped from like a prison or
Yeah,
something.
Supermax Island Prison.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty awful, but it was fun to see them together. But the movie was pretty awful. It's like a Netflix movie. It's not a go see
At the
pay
theater.
Don't
20
worry
bucks
about the
to see.
theater.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I didn't realize that. I grew up. So those are like my heroes. I tell people that all the time, like Schwarzenegger, Stallone. I used to be an athlete. I work out a good bit. My buddy does too, and those are just the kind of guys I looked up to growing up. You know, like I love Rocky. Rocky's one of my favorite movies of all time.
I
So
think
which one do you like? I think Rocky 3 is maybe the best sports movie of all time.
Rocky is
Um,
good. I would say my favorite Rocky movie is probably Rocky 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I love
you love when he's fighting Drago.
yeah, like I don't know, I think that really embodies the Russian versus America like thing that was going on at the time. I think that's probably why I like it so much.
You don't like in 3 when Mr. T is talking to Talia Shire or whatever her name is, and he's like, "Come to my apartment. I'll show you how to date a real man."
Damn.
No, I think
I loved it because it reminds you of like real boxing trash talk.
well, I like it. So I would say that 3 and 4 are like my favorite ones. Obviously, I'm
Yeah.
always gonna have a special place in my heart for the first one because it's like I like the underdog stories like that. But
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that Rocky 5 is the biggest piece of
I
shit on the
think-
planet.
Yeah. Well, I think my favorite Stallone movie though is First Blood.
First Blood.
Yeah, Rambo First Blood.
What about Over the Top? You don't like Over the Top?
Yeah, I love that one too, but that's like on the top 5. It's like the Mount Rushmore of your Stallone movies.
I love that we got an arm wrestling movie.
Yeah, dude, I loved it because it was so like it
So
was over
80s.
the top.
It's such an 80s movie, isn't it? Like an arm wrestling.
Well, it's
movie.
kind of funny because I actually do like watching arm wrestling, and when my wife sees me like watching like arm wrestling like arm wrestling stuff, she's like, "What are you watching?" I was like, "I'm just watching arm wrestling." She's like,
Yeah, I'm watching on ESPN The Ocho, obviously.
It's like-
the same
it's like-
channel that has dodgeball.
"Yeah."
So.
I was like, "Why not?" All right, Stallone made it look cool, and then I fell in love with it.
Do you like that movie? Dodgeball?
Yeah, I like dodgeball. But just getting back to Schwarzenegger for a second, I'm in Toronto. I live in Toronto. Schwarzenegger is here right now filming a movie, and just to show how cool he actually is, there is 1 million, and I'm exaggerating. There's at least 100 pictures of him. People just going up and saying hi to him and taking pictures of him because he basically has been riding a bike around the city every morning as a form of exercise. And at red lights, he just stops and takes pictures with people. And he's been eating in restaurants alone and all sorts of things. And he's been super cool to everyone who's approached him.
Yeah, I know I know he loves getting his morning bike ride in. It's like his favorite form of exercise because he and Franco used to do it every morning. And now he's just kind of kept doing it. That's my favorite film with Arnold, Pumping Iron.
He's a huge Franco Columbo fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was doing his workout for a while. That man knew how to work out. He was strong.
I love in Pumping Iron when he's sitting with Lou Ferrigno. And he goes, "Lou, I called my parents and said I won already."
Such a dude. He was so like
He was such an asshole.
No, he was such a good. No, he's like really. I mean, he wasn't. I mean,
He knew how to get into people's head.
Well, it wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, pumping iron, like lifting weights like that, is not just about like going out there and performing. It's all about like psychology,
Mind and
too.
body.
Yeah. So he was good at that. That was
he
like
was.
his biggest strength, you know. But I know exactly what you're talking about. I loved how Pumping Iron also showed like the amateur bodybuilders too.
Yeah.
Like that one guy from Cleveland, I think he was from.
Yeah, I think it was Cleveland.
Yeah, and he was like standing there with his kid, and his kid was like, "What are you doing, Daddy?" And he's like, "I'm lifting weights." I love that shit.
Yeah, it's you're not. I want. They gotta make some. They tried to do something like that with Generation Iron, but it just doesn't hit the same way.
Yep.
As like when you see the old Pumping Iron movies.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Man, it's like those guys looked good though. Now everyone's just a mass monster.
Yeah, well, they're taking. I mean, they're injecting way too many like steroids and stuff. I mean, like there's that synth stuff that they put in their arms.
The synthol,
yeah, synthol makes them like their arms blow up, and they're not really much stronger. It just makes them look stronger.
Well, it's like It's crazy because it's like you have those guys who are like, yeah, I go to the gym and they look like a balloon animal.
I go to the gym, I'm blown up like a balloon.
So you guys are into weightlifting and you're into entertainment. Let's talk about The Rock for a second. He's got to be doing some sort of HGH or something, right?
He
Like,
does.
He definitely does.
He does Anabar. I know that for sure
Yeah.
because he's talked about it a little bit. He also takes testosterone replacement therapy. I know that for a fact.
I mean, it makes sense at his age. You have to, and if you're also taking something like that,
I've been on it too before. So I'm probably going to start going back on it pretty soon myself. It's TRT is actually pretty healthy for guys. I wouldn't recommend taking HGH or Anabar or
if you
anything
take
like that.
HGH though, you have to be on the TRT.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. I was taking an estrogen blocker, and he got really worried about me because I got really sick. Taking an estrogen
quite a
blocker.
bit.
Yeah, because men do need estrogen, some. And he told me to go talk to them. I talked to them, and they told me I had 0.
Yeah,
So
that's why I was getting concerned. I was like, I think you're going. I think it might be affecting everything.
but it worked. He said he noticed that I got bigger and leaner in like a matter of like 2 months of being on TRT. Like it made a huge fucking difference.
I mean, I know when I hit my 40s, I'm gonna probably be on the HGH TRT cocktail.
Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty common. But you're right. I know for a fact that the Rock can sit there and say it's all about diet or protein all he wants, but he's on fucking drugs.
He's eating too many calories for it to be realistic.
Yeah.
In a day.
Yeah. With what he's taking, his body is probably processing calories like he's like a late teenager again, like early 20s type of guy.
I still don't see like why, unless he's the only people I could ever imagine actually doing 10 to 20,000 calories are guys who are like the strong men.
Yeah.
And even then, it's like, and those guys aren't natural. Some of them are taking stuff too, and they don't look like The Rock. Like The Rock looks good.
Well, he's really lean.
That's what I'm saying.
Staying that lean at his age is very tough if you're not taking something. I know that for a fact. It's like impossible.
I mean, the man works hard though. You can't.
Well,
can't say, like,
just because you're taking performance-enhancing drugs doesn't mean you're not working hard.
No, I'm saying like the man works like really hard. Like it's amazing that he has like his work ethic along with his gym, with his time for his gym, and like it's amazing.
Arnold at his peak over here. I mean, he was still taking stuff. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Arnold was taking all the way up to like 86. I think he said he was still taking like performance-enhancing drugs, and then he kind of like tapered off of it because. Arnold's actually had surgery on his heart because he had
Stallone.
Yeah, Stallone. I think did Stallone have heart surgery too?
Yeah, because they're both on stuff. I mean, Stallone like around like his 5th Rocky movie or something got busted for having like I think it was like 100 pounds of steroids or something. It was a lot. It was a lot of roids, but because he got it from the UK or Australia, if I remember correctly, you can have as many steroids as you want. As long as you can prove that it's for your own personal consumption.
That makes sense.
It's weird. Performance-enhancing stuff like that, it's very common in those 2 countries.
I believe that. Are you a Dolph Lundgren fan?
I like Dolph Lundgren. I don't know if I would call myself a fan, only because I don't think I could name anything he's done in the last 10 or 15 years, except for The Expendables. But I do like Rocky IV, and I actually saw him. He was on some show selling his house. It was like a house flipper show, and I was a little embarrassed for him because they were basically trying to make him say stupid things. But he looked pretty good still for a guy who's got to be closer to 70 than 60. Yep. But he looks pretty good still.
What is it? Has anyone ever heard of the
movie
Red Scorpion? Yeah, I was gonna say the Soviet version of Rambo.
Yeah, I've seen Red Scorpion.
I was like, he looked great back in those days, but it's like, I would agree his films are not as memorable.
No,
the guy is more memorable than the films.
Yeah,
isn't he? He's not even Russian, isn't he? Like Swedish or Finnish or something
He's a Swede.
like that.
Yep. Yeah. But he just they had him play the Russian role, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like my childhood was robbed when I found out he wasn't Russian.
Well, then again, it's like the WWE had all of these guys who were billed up as Russians, and they were just Canadians.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Was Dolph Lundgren in? Was Dolph Lundgren in? There was a Jim Belushi Red Heat, or was that something else?
Oh no, that was Arnold.
That was
That
Arnold
was
and Jim
Arnold,
Belushi.
and it was
Yeah.
a buddy cop movie where he comes from where Arnold's like a cop from the Soviet Union tracking down a drug dealer in New York.
Yes, yes, that's it. Mm,
That's an interesting movie.
God
mhm.
damn. That's ridiculous. Oh my god.
You know what though? They picked the most like American like cop stereotype you could with like the out of shape Jim Belushi, and you think about like the most steroided out like Soviet super soldier being sent to New York to hunt down the most dangerous drug dealer in the Soviet Union.
Jesus Christ. These movies, man.
You know, they were bad
was-
ideas, but they were good.
that movie walked. Oh, what was the Jackie Chan Chris Tucker movie?
Rush Hour.
Rush Hour.
Rush Hour. That movie walked so Rush Hour could run.
Yeah, I
It was
love those
the
movies.
spiritual child of Rush Hour.
Did you like the Lethal Weapon movies?
I do actually. I really like them. I don't know if I've seen the last one. With the last one before?
Yeah.
I think so.
That was 4 had like Jet Li and
Yeah.
I did
Joe
see it.
Pesci.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I like the Lethal Weapon movies. What else do I like? Oh man, have you guys seen Last Boy Scout?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, wait,
Oh man,
I
Last
know
Boy
that
Scout. Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis. It's a Tony Scott film. It is like the epitome of like the cocaine-fueled 80s. It's a movie where it's all about Damon Wayans is a NFL superstar who's not allowed to play because he got caught doing drugs, and Bruce Willis is a cop who wants to kill himself every day. But the first like scene of the movie is Billy Blanks, the inventor of Tybo.
Billy Blanks. I haven't heard that in forever.
Wow.
Yeah. Billy Blanks is he gets a phone call at halftime of the Super Bowl, and a bunch of like mobsters who are betting on the game says, "You know what you got to do," and he basically, with like a minute left, he takes the handoff, is running. He's the running back, and as a bunch of guys come to tackle him, he pulls a gun out of his waistband and shoots them dead so he can go get a touchdown, and then he kills himself in the end zone. But the points stand because there is no rules that say you can't shoot somebody with a gun. So they win the game and the mobsters get their money.
What the
What the
fuck? You know what?
It is.
That's a big what the fuck you moment.
Oh my god! Like that's great. That's terribly great.
Wow.
There's no rule
Yeah, it
against it.
It was written by Shane Black, who did the Lethal Weapon movies. I don't know if you guys have ever heard, like the original script for Lethal Weapon was supposed to be super dark, and they made it a little friendlier for thing, but it's supposed to be like a real dark film.
I'm so glad it was like more comedic.
Man, my favorite
Yeah.
movie of all time is Blade Runner, actually.
Blade Runner's a really good
I'm
one.
gonna I might embarrass myself. I've never seen it. But
Oh,
like the 3 or 4 like tentpole movies of all time, I've never seen E.T. and I've never seen Blade Runner.
Yeah, you gotta watch Blade Runner. It's really good. It's a good movie.
And then
Yeah,
I'll check it out.
yeah, it's really fucking good. I mean that's pretty quintessential for me. I mean, but I'm also like a huge like I'm a Bruce Campbell fan. So like over here,
Oh yeah.
like Army of Darkness is like one of my favorite movies. Love that movie.
I love it.
Did you get into Burn Notice?
I've watched a couple episodes of Burn Notice. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I like that show. Bruce Campbell's great in it.
He really is a great actor. It's just, he wrote that book, If Chins Could, I think it was like, oh, Chins Could Kill, I think. And he wrote that book based off of the fact that he's like a B. He never really made it as like an A-list actor, but he's always been like a B-list actor. But the thing is, like, he has A-list acting ability. He could easily be like an A-list star.
But he got shoved into the B list.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe because that seems like Dolph Lundgren. Like he has the potential to do very well in A-list sort of movies, but he always gets kind of shoved into B-list Netflix movies.
Hmm.
But after being out so I was in California for the past 2 weeks, and I've learned that being a C-list, D-list, B-list like person is actually not a bad thing because you still make really great money.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Oh,
money in that.
there's tons of character actors that like they get by for years and years and years, and it's kind of fascinating. It's a pretty good gig if you can like make a decent amount of living. You're not going to make millions and millions, but you do pretty well, and you like have your privacy, and you like, I don't know, it's not such a bad gig.
Well, speaking of
Yeah.
advertising, is advertising in movie like inside movies like play ad placements? Is it still like huge, or is that like not really as big as it used to be?
Oh, product placement is enormous. If you look at companies like Dell, who are everywhere. Like the Avengers use Dell computers, and
Didn't notice.
like,
Hmm.
well, all Marvel is owned by, like, all computers in the Marvel universe are Dell. Like it's a huge, huge thing. It's very, very expensive. I'd say, like, part of it is ego, and part of it is like sort of like, it probably moves some product, but for the most part, it's like there's only a handful of companies, like, tier one brands that have the amount of money that it takes to do that stuff.
Yeah, because like anytime I'd like watch an '80s movie, they'd be drinking beer, but it'd be beer brand beer they'd be
The
drinking.
beer brand
Hmm.
beer, yeah.
Yeah, you never
Hmm.
saw like a whole lot of like. I mean,
Marlboro Red cigarettes was in everything in the 80s, though.
I'm sure.
Hmm.
I'm
The
sure it
way
was.
you can tell if it's being paid for is the labels are always perfectly lined up for the camera.
Yeah, I
If,
believe that.
if they're not perfectly lined up, then it's they're not getting paid for it.
So I rewatched the movie The Lost Boys the other day,
Great
and
movie.
Hmm.
it's still a fucking great movie.
Slaps.
Yeah,
Great movie.
I love that random scene in the movie where the guy's like got his shirt off and he's like playing the fucking saxophone. Still fucking love that shit.
The sexy sax man.
Yeah, which was actually the guy who sung the song, and
Yeah.
he was actually a really big singer back in the '80s. His name was like Tim something. Can't remember his name. So,
Hmm.
but it was yeah. I
Sexy sax man.
Yeah, I actually do look for like ads in movies. When I watch like older movies, newer movies, somewhere in between. And I completely missed that there was Dell computers in fucking the Avengers movies. Didn't even realize that.
Well, in a movie like Lethal Weapon, if you noticed in the background of each movie, there was a different sort of political movement kind of ad in the background, always around like their boards, their windows, everything in the station. It's like in the second one they had like Free South Africa on almost everything in each scene. It's always like sort of hidden within the scene when you go outside the police station. And then in the third one, it was stuff to promote the assault weapons ban in the 90s.
Did you ever? I'm sure you've seen this movie, but one of my favorite movies from the '80s is RoboCop. Fucking
Yep.
Oh,
love
RoboCop's
RoboCop.
amazing.
Yeah, and I love
Hmm.
all the fake ads in RoboCop. That's
Hmm.
like the best. I'm sure you can probably appreciate that as an
I,
advertiser.
I'd
Like,
buy
oh
that for $1.
yeah, I'd buy that for $1.
What was it, like 300 SPF sunscreen?
Yeah, she was wearing like shit. Her whole body was like covered in blue sunscreen, and she's like, I can stay out in the sun all
All
the time.
day.
Sorry, I got a cat.
SPF 300.
SPF 300. I can stay out all day. And then I love like the car commercials, and then like, but yeah, the I buy that for $1 guy. That's
Yeah.
like the best part of the fucking movie, in my opinion.
Actually, dystopian future commercials in all movies, like because they even had him in The Running Man.
Wait, they had that guy in the Running Man?
No, they had like the similar sort of thing where they had like these ridiculous dystopian future commercials in The Running Man.
You got me excited. I thought that guy like crossed like movies, and he was like in that movie too.
No, it was funny because it's like now that I think about it, in the 80s, whenever they had a movie with a dystopian future, they also added like dystopian level commercials to their movies.
I believe that.
Where
Isn't it,
where violence
isn't
sells.
it, isn't it sad that even in dystopian futures, you still have to go to work and do all that stuff? You'd figure like, like there'd be something else.
It's like, man, what's going on in dystopian futures? What's TV like that? The commercials seem like the most relatable thing.
Mhm.
That's
I
very
think in
true.
dystopian futures, you're only able to watch the Cosby Show,
Oh
knowing what you
God.
know about him now.
Oh God.
That's terrible.
That would be horrible. Jeez. Like reruns.
Yeah, well, and next is the Cosby Show, and after that, it's the Cosby Show.
Yep. Blow your brains out.
Well, I mean, at that point, I'm pretty sure they don't have guns anymore because it's a dystopian future. So you're just going to take a bunch of pills and pop your head in the oven and hope you're going to come out a toaster strudel.
Yeah, makes sense. Sorry, my cat's like being a bitch, so I gotta pick her up and pet her.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think they had some like pretty fun commercials if I remember correctly in all of these like 80 movies.
Yeah, I actually sometimes I'll go on YouTube and I'll watch like commercials from the '80s,
Remember
and
when we watched the commercials from the 50s?
yeah, oh
Those
my
were dark.
God, those are creepy. We watched this commercial from the '50s, and this
Sugar Smacks.
it wasn't sugar. It was Rice Crinkles. It was like a
Oh,
clown.
yeah.
He goes, breakfast, and he like pops out of like this thing and goes, I'm hungry, and he like runs over and sits down, and he goes, I love Rice Crinkles. It's covered in sugar, which gives you energy. And I'm like, wow, dude, they were really so not aware of like how bad sugar was for him back then.
Well, in the 70s, cigarette companies were like, your doctor says you should smoke.
Oh yeah, those were some of the ones we saw too. It's like a doctor says a camel a day keeps the doctor away. And he's just like, oh God.
Yeah, and then we were watching like a Flintstones one where the guy he's like
Winston cigarettes.
Well, it's Winston cigarettes. And he like sitting there hitting the cigarette.
No, the coffee commercials were the best, but they were also like dark because the guy looks like he's about to beat his wife because he's out of coffee.
Yeah, she goes, oh no, we're out of coffee. And he goes, out of coffee?
Oh my God.
He looks like he's about to like fight her. And I'm like, whoa, dude, chill the fuck out, bro.
He's like to the moon, Alice.
Yeah, and then we were watching this other commercial where it was like a commercial for it was like from the early 60s, and it was a fast food chain, and their mascot was a black guy. And it was like was
it a black guy or was it a guy in blackface?
No, it was like a stereotypical like blackface guy, like cartoonish looking thing, and it was like fucked up, and they were and you can probably guess what they were selling. They were selling fried chicken, of course.
Yeah, you know what? That doesn't even surprise me.
But like crazy how like ads were just so different back then than they are now.
That was those 50s and 60s commercials were dark though.
Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely.
It's like they either wanted to beat their wives, give their kids sugar, or racism.
Cigarettes too. They wanted.
And their kids were having cigarettes. That was it.
Yeah, and then like the Flintstones like did like a Winston commercial and a Bush commercial.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Bush beer, Winston cigarettes. What are you doing? You're not smoking them Winstons and drinking that Bush? What are you doing?
Well, I used to like the old the Barbasol commercial that came out. That was the guy who was like, if you're not gonna be manly like your grandpa, at least shave like your grandpa.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was it's like this guy's like storming the beaches of Normandy, and he's like talking shit about like how soft today's generations is, and he's like, if you're gonna be soft, at least shave like your grandfather with Barbasol.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
That was the last time I saw like a shaving cream commercial that got offensive.
I gotta be honest, dude. I haven't seen a shaving cream commercial in forever. I can't remember the last time I saw one. I know that they did that Gillette one like a couple years ago, and there was a lot of controversy around that one. I remember
Which one was that?
Toxic masculinity one.
Yeah, the toxic masculinity one. Yeah, that's the one. I remember that one.
Yeah.
And that's the last shaving cream commercial I've heard about or seen, I guess. I remember back in the 90s, they had the Jet Mach 3 commercials where they were like sitting there shave, and they're like, "Ooh, it's the closest shave you've ever had in your life."
I got like a 6-blade razor
yeah,
today.
and then they had like a woman just like touching his face. He was like, "Ooh, yeah, ooh."
You knew they were fucking after that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's like those. What were those commercials? They were very simple. They were like about diamonds, and it was just like a shadow on the wall, and then the
Oh,
shadow.
DeBoer's.
Is that who it was?
DeBoer's,
Yeah.
the diamond company DeBoer's.
Yeah, they'd say like diamonds are forever, and they'd like put it on like the shadow. Those were such simple commercials, but like they left like with such an impact on people.
Actually, I just remembered something. The new best commercials are the Blue Chew commercials.
What?
It's like Viagra gum. Like guy gets the Blue Chew. Like this one guy, he's like, honey, the Blue Chew came in, and she just like attacks him sexually and everything, and you know that they're fucking. Like
Wow.
It's just like that's like the most intense like out there commercial.
So the gum.
today.
So the gum has.
I guess the gum's Viagra.
Oh wow. Okay.
But the weirdest part is that the guys who like are doing these commercials are like athletes.
Oh.
And you're just
okay.
like, oh damn.
I guess they need it.
Steroids, man.
Yeah, I was just thinking about another commercial from back in the day, but I completely forgot. My mind blanked. Can't remember.
I mean, it's good either way.
I just remember Pizza. I remember Pizza Hut commercials back in the day. I remember they really made Pizza Hut look fucking amazing, and now you go to Pizza Hut and it's kind of sad.
When Pizza Hut shows up to your door, you've reached a new low.
Yeah, do you remember the '90s Pizza Hut where you like got excited to go to Pizza Hut? Like it was like a whole fucking thing. You like
It was a day event.
You and the family would like get together and we're like, oh, we're going to Pizza Hut. And it's like, oh shit, great.
I think Pizza Hut is still awesome.
Oh, you still like Pizza Hut?
I don't eat it. I just like the idea of it.
Oh, the idea of Pizza Hut.
It's Domino's. It's disappointing. Domino's is pure disappointment with anything you get off the menu.
I actually worked at Papa John's for a little bit back when I was in college, and I gotta say, Papa John's is a very disappointing place to work at. The owner is kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
He was not a good person.
Well, a man who eats his pizza with a fork is an asshole.
Can't trust him. You can't trust that guy.
You got to fold your pizza, and if you don't do that, you're an asshole.
So I gotta ask you, Saul, what is your favorite commercial of all time? What is your absolute favorite, top number one of all time?
Favorite commercial of all time?
Yeah,
I don't know. There's so many.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm drawing a blank, but it obviously be something that's funny. Memorable. But I don't know. I'm drawing a complete blank.
My favorite one is a local one from where we live. We had this guy called the Wolfman.
Oh my God!
Remember the Wolfman?
Yep.
Yeah. So we had this guy called the
Did
Wolfman.
he howl?
He just looked like a wolfman. Like he literally had like his facial hair wrapped all the way around. He looked like the Wolfman from the 1940s, and he called himself the Wolfman. And basically, it was the Wolfman and Donna, and they had a commercial over here in Gainesville, Georgia, and south of Atlanta too. And he'd be like, "Welcome to Gallery Furniture, where we sell like the best stuff. Hi, I'm the Wolfman, and if you come on down to Gallery Furniture, we'll get you all kinds of really great deals." And he'd be like, "We get you some lamps for $19.99. We get you some couches for like $100 or some stupid shit like that." Because it was like the late '80s, early '90s. And then he'd be like, "Oh, and by the way, when you come in, ask for the Wolfman." And that was like his like thing they'd always say. And then another commercial I really liked that like really had an impact on me was the egg commercial, like the PSA commercials, where they'd be like, brain on drugs. Yeah, this is your brain on drugs. They'd crack the egg on the fucking frying pan and be like, "This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?" And that was like literally the commercial.
No, my favorite and most scarring ones are the meth commercials that came out in the early mid 2000s.
Yeah, those are pretty good. Or the
here's your meth pipe, here's your meth face, here's your meth baby, and you're just like, oh God.
Or another one.
I don't want meth.
Another good one was where the girl was like in her like in the kitchen eating some food, and the dog jumps up on the table and goes, "Susie, I don't really like it when you smoke marijuana. I like it when you're yourself, when you're not doing that." And I'm just like, the dog doesn't talk to you when you're fucking high, dude. What are you talking about? That's acid. So those are like good. I like PSAs. I think PSAs are funny.
Then the 80s PSAs were great though, with Pee Wee Herman telling you not to
This
smoke crack.
is crack. Yeah, you probably remember those, huh?
I think he was on crack when he jerked off in that movie theater, and that's why he had to do that.
Yeah, they're like,
I don't think Pee Wee was on crack. I think he's just doing what men do.
Jerking off in the porno theater. I mean, to be fair, why is there no rules that you can shoot people in football, but there's a rule about not jerking off at the porno theater? I mean, it's a porno theater.
It's a porno, exactly. It's not like it was a Disney.
I wasn't jerking off to a Disney movie. I was jerking off in a porn theater.
and he was of age, and it's a place where you can go where adults can go. I don't really see what the big deal is personally, but then again, people were a lot more judgmental back in the day than they are now.
I mean, first off,
he's watching Pump Friction.
Pump Friction.
You know what? I can only imagine, like, you have to, back in those days, so you didn't get, seen going to the porno theater. You just, put a disguise on before you got to the theater.
What's funny is I like that he was in the movie Matilda as a serious cop.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Did you ever see Matilda? Yeah. He was, a serious cop in that movie. And Danny DeVito's character's like, "Speedboat salesman. There's no lakes around here."
Yeah.
And then the wife's like, "Oh yeah, they're speedboat salesmen. They're selling us. They're trying to sell us a timeshare." And Matilda's like, "They're cops."
Yeah.
And they're like, "They're not cops." And she's like, "They're totally cops."
They would just hang out all day in front of their house,
scoping them out with the cameras and shit.
I'm just saying, Matilda being trapped at home, picking up mysterious packages for her parents, should have had at least some kind of child service come and get her.
Nah, it never happened.
They're like, "Oh yeah, that's Danny DeVito, the guy who sells us crappy cars."
3-minute warning.
Oh, the 3-minute warning.
Yeah, we're at the 3-minute mark. So,
all right.
So before we wrap things up, do you have anything you want to plug? Because we like to plug people on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anyone wants to check out my company, go to theideaintegration.com and just check it out.
Okay, and you do marketing, right?
Marketing and advertising, yes.
Nice, cool. You heard that, folks? Marketing and advertising. So to kind of wrap things up, so we agree that advertisements are not as fun as they used to be, and they don't take as many risks, and they play it safe, right?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, we got to get those 80s dystopian future commercials coming out now.
Yeah, we need those back.
Like a great example even is McDonald's. They got rid of all of the McDonald land people because nobody likes Grimace anymore. Come on, who doesn't? Grimace.
Or the Hamburglar.
Yeah, all that stuff. It was considered uncool. This is the world we live in now, guys. Bring back Grimace.
I want the Hamburglar back. I liked him.
I mean, the Hamburglar was trying to prevent kids from childhood obesity.
Yeah. Maybe that's one way they could bring him back. He shows up and he's like, "Hey, don't eat that.
Eat a salad from McDonald's."
From McDonald's.
He was a role model. He never shot anybody. He snuck up and took it from behind your back.
Yeah. And he whispered into your ear and he was like, "I'm trying to help you not get obese.
I'm trying to help you. Ronald McDonald is selling you false products." Come with
Ronald McDonald shows up all cracked out. He's like burgers, hamburgers. Eat this hamburger.
You want a chicken nugget? You want 10 chicken nuggets for $1? I'll make it happen.
But yeah, to kind of wrap it up, because we're talking about McDonald's, I saw a really funny meme the other day. They were saying that McDonald's went from a happy-go-lucky kid to a depressed adult, and they're talking about the way the restaurants are structured now.
Yeah, I saw that. That's really funny.
It's true.
Well, I feel like McDonald's was trying to be too much like Starbucks or something.
Yeah, it's kind of
They
weird.
really are. Like, have you ever noticed the way they design their new stores? They look like a fucking Starbucks or something. Like, and I'm guilty. I go to fucking Starbucks sometimes, but like,
Welcome to McDonald's. You want your cheeseburger latte?
absolutely. And I noticed they don't have ball pits or anything anymore, right? At McDonald's, like that stuff is completely gone, isn't it?
Well, after the kids.
I'm sure some places they do, but they don't. If you pay attention, they don't even use Ronald anymore. It's like it's all about Starbucks and stuff like that. Like it's not the happiest place on earth anymore.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm glad that
We
Burger
are
King
living in
kept
a
the king.
dystopian society. This is it right here. No more Ronald.
At least they let the Burger King exist.
Yeah,
Mhm.
He still exists, so we're
King.
safe.
So the King shows up every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
You remember the Burger King Kids Club kids? Whatever happened to
No.
them? They're gone too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow, that's true.
Yeah, they kind of disappeared. Yeah, and then like Wendy's had Dave. You know, Dave's dead, so he can't do those commercials anymore. But
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, and then
KFC is always coming up with something to get.
well,
you
they have
fried
the
chicken.
they have the Colonel,
The
like
crispy kernel.
yeah, like the animated Colonel guy. They have him, and then that Popeyes chicken chick. Whatever the fuck happened to her?
I think
gone.
she's still around.
Oh yeah.
And Chick-fil-A has Jesus on their side.
Oh yeah.
So that's
Oh yeah.
Chick-fil-A's got the Lord on their side as their mascot. No one could stop them.
yeah.
Those Zaxby's commercials are fucking horrible too.
Yeah,
The new ones.
Zaxby's kind of like the discount chicken shack that you go to when Chick-fil-A or KFC isn't around.
Whoa, buddy. Whoa, buddy. I love Zaxby's over those places. So let's not like muddy the water here.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying the
Well,
commercials.
I don't know.
suck.
He may not even know what Do you even know what Zaxby's is?
I know what it is.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay. Because I mean,
It's,
like,
it's Canada. It's not like Europe.
well, no, but like I thought Zaxby's is like a regional thing here in the South. I didn't know if like Zaxby's was up
I
in.
think it is. I've driven all through like U.S. I know every regional thing.
Well, he's Canadian too, so you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
From Montreal. But I don't know any French, so please don't
Neither
make
do
it
I.
awkward. Everyone always does that whenever I tell them I'm like, yeah, I'm Canadian, and then they start like speaking French to me. I'm like, oh no. I've lived here most of my life.
But yeah, so we appreciate having you on. So
Well, thank
great.
you for having me, guys.
Yeah.
This was fun.
yeah, no problem.
was.
We try to have this like as a free form podcast. We try to make it fun. Go to www.dumbcoolweird.com. Check out our merch store. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
And haters, keep hating because
Yeah.
you're always pushing our shit for us.
Yeah, we love you, haters. You're definitely doing the Lord's work, and we appreciate that.
We appreciate it. Hey, if you want to come on, we're always here to talk because you're sad.
Yeah, let us be
Let us be the Catholic priest in your confessional.
Let us be the creepy uncle that talks to you when he's drunk
In the basement.
Yeah, when he's drunk. Let us be your therapist.
We'll be here.
Yes. And yeah, everything's great. Why don't you sign us off, Nick?
Stay sexy, Atlanta.
Thanks for checking out the Dumb Cool Weird podcast. Go to our website, www.dumbcoolweird.com, to check out our merch and all our social media links. If you want to check out how to support us and our audio podcasts only, and an access to our website and all of our other links for our social media, go to linktree.com, which has Dumb Cool Weird podcast. The link is up below. Hope you guys will check us out. We have new content coming out every single Monday. We have new content coming out every single day. Check it for 9 a.m. Clips, reactions, whatever. We got it coming for you. Hope you come out, check it out. Stay sexy, Atlanta, and keep watching our crap.